So at our last gas stop, there was a big truck that came through, and on top of the truck it said Jesus loves you, and I am trying. And so, not to say what that particular gentleman was thinking, but it got me to reflecting on the ride after that about I guess what I think is one of the biggest problems kind of in our world today, namely that there are many millions of people who subscribe to different mass world religions and doctrines, yet they do not do at all what the teacher or spiritual founder of that the doctrine is based on. They don't follow the message, and so as a result, they do things like being mean, fighting, blowing up, killing, disregarding people, allowing suffering, allowing hunger, all that kind of thing, that is in direct violation with what the teacher that they profess has taught. So let's just take really quickly the big three and see if there are any of the negative activities in the world that the big three would allow. So let's start with Jesus. All right, so Jesus' main message. Jesus' main message ends up being this: through love, you love God, yourself, and your neighbor the same. And through that process of love, you can come to understand the extensions of the same thing, that they're all the same. That you, your neighbor, God, through the Spirit is one. And the more you practice that kind of love, then the more instruction in the Spirit you get. And that it will not allow you to slight someone, be negative to someone, dislike someone, or make a slogan that detracts from somebody else. So that's something that Jesus wouldn't allow, interestingly enough. But there are many people who profess the doctrine who work into the doctrine a great deal of negativity because they're not doing what their teacher said. All right, so let's take the Prophet Muhammad. Right, so if you follow what it is that he says do, would he allow people to, say, let their neighbor starve, or to do negative violence against other folks? Because I know that people think that the Prophet Muhammad will allow that, but no. One of his main messages is that you organize yourself and your life in such a way that your will and consciousness becomes transparent before the divine. So that your will ends up being the divine will, and that your activity and expression on earth ends up being the divine expression. Again, disallowing for you to allow your neighbor to go hungry, or for you to see someone in need and not help. Okay, so that's two. Let's go with Gautama Buddha. Let's think about what Buddha had to say. Would Buddha allow you to allow suffering of your neighbor, or to not help someone out in need and that kind of thing? Well, the Four Noble Truths and then the Eightfold Path is set up just so that suffering, your own first, can be relieved, and that you can show others how not to suffer. So if we just take those three, there are many other spiritual teachers, many folks who've put it down for how to connect the divine culture on earth. The biggest difficulty I see, though, is people simply not doing what their teacher said. So anybody who would think to, say, fight somebody else over a doctrine, or say make someone, or try to make somebody do what they think their doctrine dictates or something like that, they can save all that time and energy and just do what your teacher says. So if you subscribe to one of the majors, you don't have to be concerned about someone else not subscribing to it. If you do what your teacher says, then this entire planet situation could get worked out. But instead of doing what the teacher says, we get really busy fighting about whose teacher is right. So that's kind of interesting. So what I would say to that is, don't spend any time fighting someone about the correctness of your teacher. If your teacher is correct, do what the teacher says, and then the rest of that will get worked out.